McDaniel. I was born in Limerick in the southwest of Ireland. I learned how to make dolls from my mother, and she used to make them. Actually, the first time, my grandmother, who was 78 at the time, she gave me one of these dolls, and I took it apart to find out the pattern. My mother almost killed me. She said to her grandmother would never make another doll again, but that's where I got the pattern from. They go back in our family to about 1805, so they are an old doll. Yeah, they're called Lizzie Drippings.
My daughter got one yesterday. Tell us a story about Lizzie.
Well, Lizzie worked in the big houses as a maid, and because the owners of the houses were English, and mainly women were the bosses in the house for the maids, they couldn't speak any Irish. They thought it was beneath them to learn Gaelic, and they didn't have an awful lot of education always, so they called all their maids Lizzies. And these Lizzies worked as they were 13, 14-year-old girls, and they spoke English, but they refused to speak English because the owners of the houses were English, and the houses were built on land that originally belonged to the Irish. Irish women are feisty women. We carry long grudges. You don't cross an Irish woman. So they worked as maids in the houses. They did the floors and the pots and pans. They started off as scullery maids and worked their way up. Eventually, when they were 17, 18, they moved to the States and worked here as maids. Typhoid Mary was a Lizzie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There's a claim to fame.
Yeah, there's a claim to fame.
And how long have you been making them?
Since I was 7, so I won't tell you. I'm 64 right now, so or 62, something like that. So it's a long time. It's over 50 years. Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, I have 3 daughters. I made them for my daughters.
Now, where do you live now?
I live in San Antonio, in Texas. Met a nice guy from San Antonio, was working in Germany on the radio, and that was it.
All right. What other dolls do you have besides the Lizzie?
I make a doll called PJ, and PJ is
The nice Irish red hair.
yes, the Irish red hair. The PJs, the pattern is the interesting part about the PJs. In Ireland, men are known by their what they're known for, by their nicknames. So PJ, Patrick Joseph, or Johnny the Rag. We used to know one who looked like a rag. And the interesting part is the pullovers, because the fishermen developed the patterns as a way. Irish fishermen don't learn how to swim. They say it takes you half an hour to die in the Atlantic. You can swim only 5 minutes if you can't. Realist to the end. As they were good at making nets, they knew how to knit, and they were the ones who originally knitted. And they made the patterns. These are basically ropes as a way of identifying a body that got washed up on shore. They used to wear, big thick rubber boots. If they filled with water, you were a goner in the sea.
Right.
And so all the patterns, of course, being Irish, tell stories. Like this is a man who led a wayward life, had 2 chances at marriage and didn't take it, stayed alone. Normally there's only one on the inside, but I put 2 because of the balance. But they're basically ropes. And so if you follow somebody down the street and look at their pullover, you tell the story of their life from their pullover.
Okay.
So I made boy dolls because there's no boy dolls.
Right.
All the dolls are girls and all blonde.
Now, do you just travel to festivals and sell these, or do you actually have a business?
I have a website, janesirish.com, and I do a lot of mail order, and I make dolls to order. I usually make them to look like the child, if they're for a certain child with the same hair and eyes. And they're for loving, basically. I've applied to the Smithsonian for them because they were very interested, because the Lizzies put up the seed money for the National Cathedral in Washington. So they were very interested, so I'll see if they'll get accepted by the Smithsonian. That'd be a feather in my cap.
It sure would.
Or in Lizzie's cap.
All right. Well, I won't hold you up anymore.
Thank you
you so much, Jane.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks.